YouTube, what's poppin'? This your boy Ink in the Brain. We back at it like a bad habit, man. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in. All right, so I got another episode of my prison experience to share with y'all today. All right, so I'm gonna tell you about how this dude I met when I first hit the 2 yard. You know, he got a decade in prison, right? And the crazy thing is he had no victims, didn't hurt anybody, non-violent, but they gave him a decade, and that just always blew my mind. And I'm gonna get to the details of that. Furthermore, I'm also going to touch on, restitutions and fines and child support in prison, right? Which I kind of touched on previously, but I'm going to go a little bit further into it because it also collaborates with bro. I'm going to talk about who got that 10 piece. So, all right, so I hit the 2 yard, right? My second 2 yard I was on. I was there for maybe like a week, maybe like 2 weeks or something like that. It wasn't that much time. But they called me to do a drug test. Because when you locked up, you get mandatory urine analysis tests, they're random, and so which isn't a big deal to me because I don't get high. But if you do get high in prison, just be prepared that your day is gonna come where you got a piss test. And on a side note, if you are getting high and you get called up to do a UA, you better refuse it. You have to refuse it, or else you're gonna make the spot hot. So don't do it. You better refuse it and go to the hole. I'm just saying, if you get high, that's what comes with it in prison. But all right, boom. So I go to the UA, right? I'm walking up the yard. They put us in a cage to wait and then to go into the medical unit. So when we in the cage waiting, I see Mexican cat here. Little short, skinny dude. You feel me? Real muscular though, but thin, muscular, kind of skinny dude, Mexican dude. So we start chopping up. He's like, where you coming from? You just get here, whatever the case is? I'm like, yeah, I just came from Yuma. And he's like, okay. He had already been there like a year or so. And we just chopping it up. So, like, how much time you got? I'm like, shit, 2 years. How about you? He's like, man, I got 10 years, but, I'm on my last 5 now, or 4, whatever it was at the time, 5 or 4. I said, damn, 10 years? He said, yeah. I'm like, man, what they get you for? I'm thinking it's some manslaughter or, armed robbery or something like that. Man, they get this dude 10 years for a DUI, y'all, an aggravated DUI. Now, the reason I'm bringing this story up, really, a couple reasons. One, if you happen to come across this video, you might be in pre-trial or something like that. This is just some news you can use. If you legitimately looking at doing some time. I'm just kicking y'all some game to be prepared, so you can be thoroughly prepared to go behind the walls, right? But the other reason I'm bringing it up is, these situations are very common, and when you think about going to prison, doing prison time, at least when I used to think about it, I used to think about like the hard criminals, like the shooters, the killers, armed robbers. People who sexually take advantage of children and women, things like that. That's what I think about when I think about people going to prison. But there's also another side. You also got people who do petty crimes, who might do some time. And then when you get your second felony, it puts you in a higher category, which gives you more time. So yeah, man, they give him an aggravated assault, gave him an aggravated DUI. And I'm just picking his, I'm like, bro, how the hell they give you 10 years for it? So basically, he had been down like 2 times, okay? So he's a repeat offender, which was number 1, which, like I said, automatically puts you in a higher category. Number 2 was he had a revoked driver's license, and he was still drinking and driving, which wasn't the smartest idea, right? Because out here in the state of Arizona, if you are driving drunk while your license is revoked, then that gives you an aggravated DUI. And if you have prior felonies, then it just boosts you to a higher category. Arizona does not play when it comes to DUIs and shit like that. Come to find out, right? So I'm like, damn. So yeah, he got pulled over drunk, license is revoked, booked him, 10 years sentence. Flat time. So he doing a decade. He gets out in 2025. Got locked up in 2015, man. Crazy. Just insane. I still can't believe it to this day. I heard a lot of crazy stories, and I post on my channel, the triple murderer, the guy who killed his parents. I met a lot of these guys, man. A lot of dudes who I still need to do a video on felony murder because, you know, felony murder is real popular in the joint too. But you don't really think about people getting 10 years for a DUI. So that blew my mind, man. Now, but he's doing his time, holding his head. He's working out every day. You know, he got a good program going. So, you know, he'll be out in 2025. But that leads me to the second part of the video, right? Is fines, restitution, child support, right? Now, not only did they give dude 10 years, right? But they gave him crazy fines. Basically, fines so big to where he didn't tell me the exact dollar amount, but he was like, I'll never pay it all. So I'm guessing it's probably several hundred of thousands at least, right? Which is crazy because he didn't have a victim. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he got to pay fines. And then come to find out, like, because I'm kind of seeing how because when I first moved in, I lived on the same run as him, and he was up the run from me. And then they moved him to another building, which subsequently later they moved me to the other building. Now, when they moved me to the other building the second time, he was in there making hooch. He was in there making alcohol, selling alcohol. He was the alcohol man on the yard, right? So I would just peep, you know, and the police knew it too. They would go and search his cell randomly and shit like that. But they never really caught him with no drink though, or found his concoction to make the alcohol. But I'm just saying, you know, he hustling. Basically what I'm trying to say is he hustling. So come to find out, you know, he owes all his restitution. And yeah, man, when you owe restitution and fines like that, whatever money you got on your books, your commissary books, the state takes a large percentage. I think it's like 70% of it or something like that, up to 70%, something like that, 70 to 80%. So he wasn't getting no money on his books because every time his money would hit, they would just take it. So he just said, fuck getting money on my books. And that's how he got his money, was just hustling off the yard. They call it, what do they say? Getting it off the land. That's a code term for hustling and getting your money off the yard. You know what I'm saying? Like money under the table. It's not documented through commissary, right? Because that's what you got to do. Because if your people send you $100, if your mom send you $100 to your account, your girlfriend, whatever, and the state's going to take 70% of it, you got $30 left, that's all bad. Your mom or your loved one might as well save their money. You know what I'm saying? So he was hustling to get off the land, which I respected, right? But I'm just like, damn, that's a cold part of the game, because if you got life in prison and you got $1 million restitution to pay, basically your books are fucked for life. So how you gonna get your money in your commissary? You have to hustle. So yeah, fines and restitution. And I even talked about that in a previous video, which maybe I'll link in the comment section, or I'll put the link to the video so y'all can watch it. But you know, how I basically saved myself $2.5 million, because that's the amount I would have been paying for fines, restitution, you know, all together. So man, when I got out and found out I didn't own anything, literally I felt like a millionaire, because the whole time I was down, I was expecting to you know, be financially hung for the rest of my life, and that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? So I'm extremely grateful for that and lucky for that. But yeah, so child support. I'm gonna leave y'all with this story. So I'm also in the yard, you know what I mean? And I'm rocking with this dude, black dude. He from St. Louis. Cool cat. Reformed Crip, you feel me? He's still Crip, but he, you know, was wild, and he coming off a 5-year bid himself. Also for an aggravated DUI, which is crazy, you know. But they only get him 5 though. But yeah. So one day, and I'm rocking with him because he studies real hard. That was one thing I respected about him. He didn't work out at all, but he definitely was studying at least 6-7 hours a day, every day, reading, taking notes in his notebook. He had hella notebooks, a lot of business plans. Bro was on his shit. I ain't gonna lie, bro was on his shit. I respected it, man. So I'm rocking with him, man. And so I remember one day store day come. You know what I mean? And store day is like a holiday every week for niggas. You're like, okay, cool. Story's hitting today. I'm about to eat good tonight. Man, what's on tonight? Oh, the Warriors playing tonight. So I'm, you know, we eating fat. The Warriors playing. You know what I mean? That type of shit. Man, so we go to the store. Man, he happy, he's smiling. They call his name up to get his store. Man, he come back with a small bag. He thought he was gonna get a big bag, and he looking pissed. I'm like, man, what's up, bro? He said, man, he's like, I don't know what happened, man, but my store only came with this. It was only like, it was basically like hygiene stuff, like soap, deodorant, lotion, no real food, right? So he was sick. Come to find out, the state hit him for child support. Yeah, they hit him for child support, man. So he owed child support on the streets. And then I guess finally years later, his girl had filed that paperwork on him and they garnished his account. You know what I'm saying? They garnished his account. And they only left him with like $10, $20, whatever the case is. Only enough to get his hygiene. He didn't get no soups, no beans, no rice, no nothing. No soups, no beans, no rice, no tunas, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn. And then that's when it dawned on me. I said, woo, this is a cold system. If you owe child support, if you owe restitution, fines, all that shit, the state is not going to let you slide. I don't care if they give you 10 years, 20 years of life. If you owe that restitution, oh, they're going to get their money. So, yeah, man. So, I want y'all to just be aware. I mean, you owe restitution, fines, and all that. You're going to have to find a hustle in prison, whether it's, tattooing, selling alcohol, starting your own store and charging 15% when you store it out, things like that. You feel me? Taking food out from the kitchen and selling it. Things like that, right? You have to get a hustle because your money is gone through the state. So yeah, I just thought that was some news you could use. You feel me? And definitely a life lesson for me learning that. Like I said, I got so lucky with my fines and all that. So yeah, man. But yeah, this is what Ink in the Brain. If y'all like the video, hit the like button. Definitely subscribe to the channel, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be smooth and be silent.